Let me ask a question here. What is tech debt? Again, it cannot stress enough. I'm a big idiot. I do not know what the hell that is.
This is a good question. So if you develop something, let's say you, think of an analogy. Let's say you build something, a chair.
Sure.
Right? You built a chair.
I have a beautiful chair.
Yeah, you have a beautiful chair. You sit in it. It's great. Over time, screws might come loose.
Okay.
And you've got to go screw them back in, right? That's the maintenance you have to do.
Yes.
So like when you start building something, you build it and then you're done, even though nothing's really ever done. But there's always going to be some amount of maintenance to it. It could be not much at all. Maybe you just have to do something,
sort of clean up
a year or so. It might be like a constant thing. It might be something people really like, and then they're just adding to it. And so there's always like maintenance. So any technical debt is when you build knowing that you're going to have maintenance down the line to deal with. And it could be, sometimes it's because you're rushed and you're like, well, this is here's the security I should be doing on it, but they need it tomorrow. So I'm just going to hack it together. And, next month we'll come back around and do a security review. Okay. So that's like your more common intentional debt. And then there's the unintentional debt of like, you just did a bad job. And I mean, everybody does because
like grabbing an intern to make a file management system or something.
If your team's overstressed and someone developing a piece of it doesn't have access to a higher level resource to verify what they did.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I see.
There's a lot of reasons, but it ultimately comes down to future work that's being kicked down the road.
Okay. So in this case, this would be something where you can optimize, your chair, if you will.
Well, if we're going to roll to chair example, think of it this way. Let's say you have a mounting bracket to connect the back of the chair to the chair. And it has 4 slots for screws. You put 3 of them in. You can't find the 4th screw, but you can't wait a week to have it ordered and shipped in. So you just roll off the 3 screw chair.
Okay. So that would be incurring
that would be tech debt.
And then you think I'm going to have to run to the Home Depot and grab a new screw to fill this.
Gotcha.
Fix this one.
It's like, this chair is shipping out like in an hour. I don't get time for that. I got to move on to the next chair.
Or maybe it's like, well, I need something to sit on right now. Let me go grab like a milk crate. Even though it's only going to last you for 2 weeks. And then later on, you really have to scramble to put something together. Okay.
Now it gets a lot more brutal when you're talking about, protected health information has tech debt behind it.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. That makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah. And then that's a big industry thing, is trying to eliminate that through like automation and processes that try to eliminate,
the less human interaction, the better, I'm sure.
Exactly.
You're introducing points of error there.
Most of the ways I would almost argue say 100% of the ways to eliminate tech debt is by spending more time on something, and time is money.
Yeah.
And businesses don't like you spending more time than they think you need to.
Yeah.
My favorite.
Obviously time or experience. Like sometimes it's better to have 2 developers work on something than one. But, again, that's 2 developers you got to pay to work on something.
So actually to tie that back into what we were talking about earlier, when you have people who are like, let's say you have a very high level developer or something that is, very talented. You need them to do actual proper work, and you're kicking them like tech support stuff to do. Like you are wasting so much time and money by having this higher level person do it when it could be handled by somebody you're paying $15 an hour. Like not only are you're wasting their time, they're not getting anything productive done, but you are also spending more on lower level tech support.
And of course, they're still going to have the same work that they needed to get done. It'll just now be more rushed.
Yeah. So
guess what? Now you're going to need more technical support because that's not always, but I would say half of your support issues are because of technical debt. And the other half is just
access control.
Yeah.
Half the time.
Yeah. Access or unexpected, new changes and things like that.
I mean, I imagine it's hard for software too. There's so many things that can go wrong.
Yeah.
Like, like dealing with our simulators, it's like a freaking house of cards. Like anything could go wrong at any point. And now I'm trying to scramble to figure out what exactly caused it to break.
Yeah.
It could be a certain set. It could be like certain environment, like variables you have or something set. It's a nightmare.
This is where I'll roll into a little side tangent about absolute versus relative deadlines. Most things do not go straight into production. They go through development first. The problem is a lot of times a business will want to say, here is the deadline for it being in production. That is not a sane idea, especially if you're also setting deadlines for development and any middle ground like UAT, pre-production, etc. if you set a deadline, it should be for the development product, whether it's an MVP or a fully fleshed out form, and then a relative deadline set, let's say 3 weeks after development is finished. Because if your development gets delayed a week and you're on an absolute deadline and you have 2 weeks to hit production, that's how you get a lot of tech debt real quick.
Yeah. Also, if you're doing that and you do the development and you assume it's going to go straight to production, and then your users like, oh no, we got the requirements wrong, or, we miscommunicated and this is not really what we wanted. Like, you've got to go back and fix that. And, oh no, we got to be in production tomorrow. And then you've blown a deadline. Yeah.
Now,
which is everything you develop. I've had very few things that just went straight to production that had business user interaction.
It's funny you mentioned that, because that KPI report I was talking about, straight to production.
Mm-hmm.
I could have sworn there was a big company a few years back that had an issue with that, where there were deadlines that were like every 2 weeks or so, and nobody could catch up with them. So all the testing went undone. Like, you cobbled something together. Like I think there was one where you had a function that was like supposed to like return the height of like a cell or something, and it was hard coded to always return 12 because nobody ever changed it.
That is a big misuse of Scrum in the 2 week sprint.
Yeah,
that was a problem. Yeah, I mean they realized it down the line, but
that's what happens when you do. Hey, let's do Scrum. I heard it's great, and every 2 weeks we're going to deliver something, and then you don't actually you put in 2 weeks worth of work. Mm-hmm. And you don't leave any of the time to do QA and all your other checks, whereas you should be doing 4 days of actual development and the rest should be dedicated, or however, if you're a heavy QA environment, maybe like 2 days of like actual development and then the rest just dedicated to making sure it's right. And then you can go to production. Yeah. But it's super common to say, we're going to do Scrum. We're going to develop something. How long do you think this will take? Probably 2 weeks. Okay. Do it in the sprint. And then at the end of it, it's like, okay, here it is. Nobody's looked at it. I just finished it like last night at midnight.